Saturday. This is what we're
Oh,
on.
yeah.
I mean, you can talk. I'm just saying, I like letting people know. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, there's gonna be less than a 5-minute delay on the public hearing. It's 6:30 now, and the applicants will be in here in just a minute. So we're gonna give it about 3 to 5 minute delay. Thank you.
Hey, before we start, did you get a microphone so we can hear?
Call this meeting to order. The first portion of the meeting is going to be a public hearing regarding the application for a special use permit for Honey's Cafe, a special use permit for Honey's Wine Bar, and also there's two council bills that require a public hearing. One is an ordinance of the city of Normandy, Missouri, amending our sign ordinance, and the other is establishing a historic preservation commission. So those two issues can also, you can speak to those when you come to the podium. So you can speak in any order on any subject regarding the special permit for Honey's Wine Bar and Cafe. There are two separate applications, one for the cafe, one for the wine bar. They're going to operate independently in the same space. And I know that people are familiar with the history, and there's a lot of people that have showed up to speak on the subject. So we don't have a sign-in sheet. Kiana, are you prepared to take the minutes? We can't hear you. You might be muted.
I'm unmuted. Yes, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone that would like to come to the podium? Please raise your hand. Yes, sir. State your name, your address.
Chuck Rosso, 7216 Normandy Place. I'd just like to speak briefly to the application for Honey's Cafe and also the application for the wine bar. So I was at work today and I just on my computer I put in on Bing best predictor of future behavior. I hit enter and I got a whole list of websites, psychological mostly, and they all said in one form or another, the best predictor of future behavior is past behavior. And I just would like to review just past behavior that I'm aware of from just the last week, I believe, in regard to the cafe and the wine bar. So for people on Normandy Place and nearby around the circle are aware that Saturday night at the cafe and wine bar, there was a so-called soft opening that had to be broken up by Normandy police. I would assume because the City of Normandy Council had not yet voted to give special use permits to the business. They did not have any permission to have occupants in there at that time. And the police basically broke it up, is my understanding. The owner of the business and the manager did this packed event full well knowing that no approval had yet been given by our city council to go forward with an opening. In my mind, this is blatant disregard for the laws of the city council, and the citizens of Normandy. That's just one event. Also, word has been circulating on Normandy Place that the manager of the new restaurant had been going door to door telling owners that he is the owner of the new restaurant, of the new business, which he is not. And at that time he was seeking signatures of approval for the opening of the restaurant bar. This act of deception, I would think, if investigated and found to be true, would invalidate signatures obtained in this fraudulent manner. And I'm not even going to speak to the other times that police have been called that I'm aware of because of smaller violations, trucks parked on sidewalks where they're not supposed to be parked. So I would just ask the members of the council sincerely, our police work hard. They have enough problems already to deal with. If we don't want resources pulled away from Ward 1, Ward 2, Ward 3, with police having to come to Ward 4 to deal with problems at a wine bar, the problems we've seen, so that I enumerated, we're not even serving hard liquor yet, and we're already having problems. If you don't want police resources pulled away from your wards to deal with problems at a bar, I would ask the council to vote no on both applications for the wine bar and restaurant. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir. We're gonna alternate.
All right, I'm Ken Moore from Honey's Cafe, and Honey's Cafe was my vision, and that vision came from being a 5013C, a non-for-profit, was set up to get the food programs for Normandy. I'm set up with a couple of other foundations that deal in Normandy with the toy drive and with the backpacks to school. And yes, I was around getting signatures, and I am the manager there. Well, on the 5013C that I'm operating will operate from 6 in the morning to 10, and that's getting breakfast, lunch, and snack for the kids and for the seniors in the residences. Okay, so it wasn't a soft opening, so I don't know how that came about. It was a party for one of the owners' grandmother's 100th birthday party. So it was kids in there, and but I wasn't there. I came later on because the place had got burglarized to get locks put on the doors. And at Honey's, we're just trying to serve the community and give the community an anchor. I'm a chef, I cook. So what I will be doing there from 6 to 10 in the morning, I got a few senior ladies that'll come in to get the breakfasts and the lunches ready by 10 to get shipped out. And then the cafe opens at 11, and the cooking, we will start selling food. My main concern is the kitchen. I don't care about the liquor or whatever, but it is a concern that U City, Creve Coeur, you go into their restaurants, they're selling liquor, and they're serving liquor. So, I just hope that the board and the community understands that we're here to help, we're not here to hinder. I'm a 28-year resident of Normandy, 10 in Belle Reve Acres, 18 in Pasadena Hills. So we're here to help as much as we can with the kids and to make sure that they're safe and they're eating, going to school. And my grandkids go to the early elementary school there, and the vision was mainly for the kids, pretty much for me. So we're not here to harm any residents or any of that. We're just here to help the community. So I don't know where they come with. I was impersonating somebody because I gave everybody's house I went to one of my business cards, and I'm a business owner in St. Charles. My business is in St. Charles. But I brought this here to this community because we needed something to call our own here. There's not a one sit-in restaurant in this neighborhood or city of Normandy, period. So I just hope you understand that. All
Thank
right?
you, sir.
Thank you.
Terry?
Terry Gannon, 7620 Augusta. And I own a business right across the street from you at the fountain.
Yes, ma'am.
So what was your name?
Ken
Ken what?
Moore.
Ken Moore. Okay, so I didn't know anything about this, and I kind of wondered how many other people here didn't know the details of your business.
Okay.
I only heard a few things on the street, because I live here too.
Yes, ma'am.
So when you're serving breakfast and lunch, who are you serving this to?
To the kids. of the
What
community.
kids?
Terry, let's go ahead and make your comments. And we'll let them enlighten us.
Well, I wondered if they were gonna do a presentation, because I don't even know what to ask.
And that's a good question. We'll let them,
I can
Well,
answer.
should we let them go first so that I know what to ask?
if you want to wait for that, we can do
Yeah,
that.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I want them to make a
So
presentation.
you want to review your operating plan for the rest of everybody, for everybody that's not aware.
We want to make sure that they don't communicate with the other
Right,
residents.
Right.
They communicate to us.
Okay, so what is it that you wanted to know?
just your business plan,
Well, the business plan is, we're set up with all the daycares, and then we got the operation plan. It's called the food program, which is a state and federal program, which pays $7.75 a day for breakfast, lunch, and a snack. And that's for any seniors within 1 mile of the restaurant. We would deliver for free if they are qualified for the program. Everything.
So when you say seniors at 65 plus, right? Not early retirees.
No, got to be 65 plus. Got to be 65 plus.
No free meals.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, ma'am.
There appears to be 3 entities there. So you've got the food program, which is operated by your 501c3.
Mm-hmm.
You've got the restaurant, and then you've got the bar. So there's 3 entities, not 2.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
But that's not reflected on the application anywhere.
Okay.
So you're running
The
the
food
restaurant
program.
portion.
Right.
So who's running the bar portion? Are they
Ms.
here?
Harris.
Okay.
Yes.
And what other program is she referring to?
So about the kids, the food for that.
So that's the third
Five.
program?
That's the
Okay.
third, right?
Just wanted to make sure.
So who's operating that program?
Me.
You operating that one
The
too?
food program is me.
Okay, it's under you.
Right.
Okay.
The morning program,
Okay.
and then the cafe, you're the manager,
Yes, 'cause I
and
cook.
Andre's the owner.
Yes, he's there.
Yeah. And so when you were going door to door in Normandy, you were getting the signatures for the liquor license.
Yes, ma'am.
So and you're not the owner of the bar, you're the manager of the cafe.
Yes, ma'am. And then out of the 27 addresses we were given, 7 were vacant, 4 were non-owners. You know, so how could you come up with 14 signatures when you got 7 vacancies you sent us to, and there's nowhere to get no signatures?
Well, I know that list because I went through it.
Okay?
And we did not have vacancies.
Yeah. The one next to Ms. Campbell is
We,
vacant.
we can deal with that.
7301 is vacant.
Yeah.
We can deal with that
Alonzo
at an
Reed is
administrative
vacant.
level.
Right.
Hey, we're gonna burn a lot of time.
Okay.
We will help you with that.
Okay.
If there's,
Right.
but let's talk about the issues with the,
Yes,
with
I
the
get it, yeah.
operations itself.
Okay.
Business plan.
So, so that people know how to respond, is Andre here?
Yes.
You wanna come to the podium, please, and explain how you're going to run this operation as 2 separate entities? And explain your business plan?
3 separate.
And then we'll open the floor to the residents to respond.
So it's still 2 businesses, okay? It's cafe, it's the wine bar. The food program that Ken Moore is talking about, that's still part of the cafe, it's still part of the restaurant, okay? But it's a government funded program. That will happen earlier in the morning. The restaurant will still be open for everybody at 11 a.m. for brunch. The wine bar will open up, we plan on opening up at 5, time may change. And we'll close at 10.
Well, that's to be determined. That's what we're having this public hearing for.
So it's 2 businesses. It's not 3.
Okay?
Question? Yeah, question. So, how is the 501c3 involved then if there are only 2 entities operating out of it? That's what I'm not understanding.
That's grandfathered under the cafe. That has to be. That's the way the business has to be registered for
so
the
it has to
government
be on
program.
food.
For the government program.
Right.
The
Okay.
kitchen had to be
Okay, thank you.
Okay? There's no questions.
So let me ask you, what will be the qualifications for the seniors to receive food if it's gonna be delivered to them? What would be the qualifications?
Well, so that's something we're working with the city right now and the government.
the state, federal.
Yep, because it's a totally different program for the seniors than the kids.
Good question.
All right. Thank you. I do have a question for Andy. The nonprofit operating out of that facility and the cafe operating, is there an issue with licensing?
Potentially, right? So it really just depends on the way that all of these entities are interrelated, right? So if Honey's Cafe is the entity providing the service, the free meal service in the mornings, then presumably that would fall under Honey's special use permit. But it almost sounds like there's a separate 501c3 that is registering for these funds with the government, with whatever federal agency is involved, and then Honey's staff. I'm a little confused by the structure, as I think the council is, and just depending. I think it probably really depends on what the entity is that is on the paperwork for whatever federal grant is involved, right?
It's not a grant.
What the federal program, excuse me. And I'm not familiar with this federal program. I haven't looked at these, so it's something frankly I would want to take a closer look at, and I do think we probably need more information.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, everyone.
Your name, so Kiana can take.
My name is Eugene Holly. I'm Marcia's son, wine bar, and I actually helped put the LLC paperwork together, so I just wanted to come up here and clarify. So the 501c, excuse me, is not actually in place yet. What we're going to use the 501c for was to be able to take donations for like the kids and things of that nature, but the actual food program will be ran under the cafe. So there's, like Andre said, there's really only two entities that are for sure alive right now. So I wanted to clarify that. There was a lot of confusion, so.
Thank you.
And clarify that 501 is that we have to, once we get it established, and you can't get it established until the home, the health department gets in the kitchen, and that's what the holdup is. The health department needs to come in and do their services to solidify everything, which the health department has to come anyway, just for the cafe itself. So that's how that works.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, ma'am.
Who is the registered agent for the 50C3?
Me,
So your name is on that,
yes.
and yet what's the business relationship then between Honey's Cafe and you and that 50C? That's a separate entity.
It's not a separate entity, but the 501 is a lot of paperwork and it's a lot of auditing, so it's a lot of paperwork. So they will handle the cafe's part of the billing and that, and I will handle the 501c.
Okay, so you're gonna be getting paid money by the feds to do this program.
Okay,
It comes through the federal government.
right.
And that money that comes in from the feds to pay for the kids, who gets that money? Does that money go into the coffers of Honey's Cafe?
All
Does
it goes
stay
into the
separate?
non-for-profit foundation.
So there are indeed three entities working.
But see, there's only two because
Yeah.
501 isn't alive.
If I may,
Yeah,
if I may.
I mean,
Right.
So, I do think there are some questions to be resolved about the relationship between the 501c3, Honey's Cafe, who's, contracting with the program or participating in the federal program, all of these questions. However, let's say, and I'm not familiar with this program, so I'm not familiar what rules there are
Okay.
regulating the distribution of funds collected by a 501c3 to other entities that might then be providing the food, right? But if, regardless of whether there's a 501c3 operating and providing this food service in the morning for kids and seniors, that really doesn't affect the question of the SUPs before the council. All it could really mean is that a third SUP might be required, but it doesn't really negate anything else that is in the SUP. So I just want to, before there's any confusion about
Thank you,
that.
I appreciate
right
it.
now, we're just looking at.
Right, right, and again, depending, I would love to see a more detailed business plan and a more detailed understanding of the relationship between these three entities and how the participation in the program works, because it could very well be the case that a further special use permit is not required, right? Theoretically, if the 501c3 was operating its office in this building, a permissible use for which a special use permit is not required, and then could permissibly allocate the funds to Honey's to operate the program. And again, that is not a legal opinion because I am not familiar with this federal program. That appears to me to probably be a permissible structure which would only require 2 SUPs. So it's just going to require some further conversations between the applicants and the city to kind of determine whether an additional special use permit is going to be necessary. But I don't think this affects the question of the operation of a restaurant under the SUP before the capital time.
And for the first 45, 60 days, I pay out of my pocket. The government only reimburses after 60 days. So everything will be coming out of my pocket.
Okay, thank you.
All right, let's hear from the residents. Terry?
Yes, okay. Okay, Terry Gannon, 7620 Augusta, and for this case, I have a commercial property at 7320 Florissant Road. So I have some questions, but maybe those will be clarified. So I heard them say that's a wine bar. Or will they also serve beer, and will they serve hard liquor?
This isn't, they haven't applied for a liquor license yet, but their business plan is beer, wine, hard liquor, all of the above.
Okay, and so the bar is gonna be open from 5 until 10. Is this also going to be considered a club, like the last place that was in there? Because here's what I just wanna say. In the past, we've had some really nice businesses in there. Restaurants that served liquor and had a nice clientele, and the neighbors came in and we all had a good time and the food was good and everything was nice. And then the last people we had in there, I don't know what they were doing, but as I had a building across the street, I should have put up cameras because, you know, as they ran through the fountain and ran up into my parking lot and took out my trees and hit the telephone pole and parked their cars in my parking lot, you know, that's not good. So parking, number one, is gonna be a big thing for me because like I'm the only one that has a parking lot, except for maybe O'Reilly's. And so I'm wondering, you know, late in the evening, where everybody's gonna be parking. Because there's no parking on the street, and that was part of the problem with the last business that was in there. And people walking the street and, you know. And I think if they were only open till 10, you know, that's a nice time to close because it just seemed like when they were open till like midnight and 1 o'clock, that's when all the bad things happened. So I'd like to see something nice go in there. Parking is a big question for me. And so I'd like to just see more information on this business so that we get something nice in there where, you know, all the neighbors can go and you could bring your kids and they could get a soda and eat with their parents and that it would be a family type restaurant, not just a club.
Thank you.
Thank you, Terry.
Thank you. There's a resident on Augusta that asked that she gave a written statement versus being here in person. This is from Darylyn Murray Uwezu at 7404 Augusta Avenue. Dear council persons, I live at 7404 Augusta Avenue within 185 feet of where the owners of Honey's Cafe and Wine Bar and Honey's Wine Bar have applied for special use permits for a restaurant and a bar. My family and I have lived at this residence since the late 60s. Prior to August of 2022, I resided in Chesterfield, but moved back because it is of a cherished inheritance. I knew the neighborhood and its immediate surroundings to be relatively peaceful, calm, and quiet. I grew up here. That said, time is bringing about undesired ambient changes such as daily police and ambulance sirens and distant but discernible gunshot rounds periodically, to name a few. As I write this, there was a police-civilian chase resulting in some halting and injurious incident that appeared to conclude in the close vicinity of the establishment in question, which brings me to the matter at hand. I would gladly welcome a family-friendly neighborhood cafe at this location as well as the revenue it would bring to the city. But I vehemently oppose the proposed 7-day opening daily business hours from 5 p.m. to 10 or 11, the possibility of hard liquor, dancing, and live bands in that particular venue. The surrounding environment is not suitable for this type of club atmosphere in consideration of the crowds, the limited availability of parking, the driver-controlled flow of traffic at the roundabout, excuse me, and most of all, the noise the aforementioned will undoubtedly create in the surrounding neighborhoods. What mechanisms will be in place to manage and address these issues? I beseech you to contemplate and decide this matter carefully. Maybe it would be easier to examine it from a personal point of view. How would you proceed if you or your family lived within 185 feet of this venue, which could possibly become Honey's Cafe and Wine Bar with its plans and proposals? Would you then vote in the affirmative? It is my hope to remain a city resident, however. Sincerely, Darylyn Murray Owezu. Excuse me. Is there any other residents that you had an opportunity? Let's residents speak. We've got somebody coming up, Becky. Then it'll be your turn.
How y'all doing this evening? My name is Tommy Watson. My address is 7239 Normandy Place. I've been a resident in this city all my life, 50 years. It was my grandma's home. But concerning the Bar and Grill, it's been some good places there, but the last place, they set a bad example. We was shooting every other weekend with something going on. And it just, I live right there, so I get to hear everything. And it was always a commotion or something. But we do need something that we can go to on a Friday night that's family friendly. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know if it's a difference between the wine and the alcohol, but I believe the wine would be a little more appropriate for the crowd. The problem comes in with the alcohol and the youngsters. We already know that. So I just want to touch on that. But I have a personal matter with my own. And the last mayor that was here, he went through, he had a lot of stuff that I had to fix. And I fixed it. But Dr. DeClue in back of me, it was a tree.
I'll tell you what, if those comments aren't directed at this business, you'll
Oh,
have
that's what I was asking.
Yeah, you'll have an opportunity when the city council meeting starts
Okay,
to talk
talk
about
about
that.
that, okay.
We need to focus, we need to keep these
Okay,
comments
thank
focused
you.
on the business.
All right, thank you, no problem.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? Ms. Becky?
Hi, thanks for allowing me the opportunity to speak. I'm Becky Harrington, Ward 3, 7714 Augusta. I'm here as a mother first, resident second, and lastly, a real estate professional. My son lived in an apartment in the roundabout when the last bar was in operation at the proposed location. I was worried every night that at the very least he would have someone jump the curb while speeding around the roundabout and hit his car, and at the worst, being shot by a stray bullet while he peacefully slept in bed. In reality, his car was broken into, heard gunshots regularly, and couldn't go outside at night even to take out the trash without someone approaching him or harassing him. He also frequently could not park in his own parking lot where he paid to live because bar patrons were parking there and taking down the no parking signs that were displayed on the lot. The area is too dark for anyone at night to be safe, and to have an increase in cars recklessly driving around the fountain at night without sufficient lighting seems like a risk to public safety. As a resident, I did not appreciate the additional traffic that the bar put on the roundabout, and the semi-trucks parking on the roundabout in order to deliver to the bar put everyone trying to navigate the road at risk. Driving down Natural Bridge, people would just start out of the parking lot to cross into traffic to get into the lot at O'Reilly's. Additional bottles and trash were thrown up and down Natural Bridge, which is already a problem. Shootings and gunshots, which when I complained about that in the past, some people said, that's just people blowing off steam and having fun. That's an irresponsible statement and untrue. It's illegal and dangerous to fire weapons in the city limits, and I don't want to see that happen with another club. the crime and trash that, as a realtor, the crime and trash the bar or club will bring to our neighborhood will only bring down the property value. We need businesses that will attract more people who will spend money, but a business that attracts a rough crowd will affect the longtime business in our community. And I apologize, this was written before I knew it was a wine bar.
You don't have to speak to them.
So, sorry. So,
I mean, that's what you need to be on.
so the current aesthetic of the property, I thought it was going to be a club. It looks more like a haunted house. It brings down the vibe of the community. It doesn't say, come in and have a good time. It projects the undertone of seediness. It does not in any way have the look of a wine bar, but in fact looks like more like the defunct hookah bar down the street. The club that successfully ran for years in Bell Ridge has closed and is boarded up, and they had standards and a nice atmosphere, and apparently couldn't continue to operate. I represent at least one family who moved onto Normandy Place from out of state on my word that Normandy was a safe and welcoming community in which to invest their money. In the time that they have lived there, they've had bullet holes in their roof from the previous bar, bottles, trash, and drug paraphernalia in their yard thrown over their fence, people parking on their street to go to the bar and then loudly and drunkenly trying to find their cars, loud music, gunfire, and disturbances involving police and ambulances well after the time that the bar should have been closed. A club will definitely affect the commercial and residential sales prices in the area and will be a blight on our community. So we've already had some bad experiences. I hope that you guys take that into consideration as you weigh out what you want to do. I do believe a cafe would be a great addition, but I would like to discourage any type of nightclub activity. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a comment.
Hang on. We're gonna have our,
No, I'm talking
oh, okay.
me, the
Yeah,
Vicky, the
I'm
citizen.
sorry. Yeah. As a citizen, you have a comment.
Have a citizen's comment. I am not a voting member of this board. I'm an ex officio member, former chair of the Village of Glen Echo. My name is Victoria Valle. I live at 7248 Henderson in the city of Normandy. I have a question, comment about the color of the building. I was driving around the circle with a friend who lives in Northwoods the other day, and her comment was, that looks like a strip club. Black building, red doors. Is there an ordinance, because I just don't know this yet, of regulations in the business district about colors for buildings? And is that appropriate? I don't know.
That's an Andy question. I've got an answer, but I'll butcher it. The facade colors and accommodating the rest of the neighborhood.
Yes,
Hold on.
Hang on.
I was just gonna say, there is, it's a little long to opine on right now, and I haven't read it in a little while. This issue doesn't come up too terribly often. There is an architectural conformity and compatibility of proposed buildings ordinance. So, I mean, I can review that and work with the city to see whether, you know, the facade of that building complies with that ordinance and so forth, and give an opinion to the council at a later date.
Thank you. I can say the criterion burden of proof on the applicant of a special use permit, one of the items is, last item number 7 includes, can be developed and operated in a manner that is visually compatible with permitted uses in the surrounding area. That's pretty vague, but it's there.
Mr. Mayor, I agree with her. I hate the color of the building too, to be honest with you. When she painted it that color, you know, I was like, oh God, that doesn't fit any color scheme. But I do agree with you, ma'am. It looks terrible.
All right.
Thank you. Yes, sir, please.
I just wanted to backpack. So I know my man, Mr. Jackson, is big on speaking to the council, but I just want to say a message to the residents via you guys.
Excuse me for just a minute. A lot of chatter. You can start over, please.
I said, I know my man, Mr. Jackson, is big on us speaking to the council, but I wanted to share a message to the residents via you guys. Can I ask her a question? Sorry, what was your name, ma'am?
Terry Gannon.
Okay, Miss Terry. You said
Just
there's.
don't create a conversation.
I'm not. I'm just using it for what I'm about to say. And you said there were good, like, great businesses in the past, correct? Did they serve alcohol?
Yes, they did.
Okay. Well, so with that being said, we're fighting an uphill battle here. You know what I mean? Like, these are all professionals. They all have their own businesses for years, 20, 30 plus years. And I just feel like we're not being given the fair chance of, okay, let me just say this. Everyone's speaking about the Lads business, which is an issue of management, okay? That has nothing to do with us. We're trying to bring back that feeling to Normandy that she was describing, have a great business, great family oriented. And I just feel like we're not really being given the chance. There's no evidence that are actually against us as the professional business owners that they are. You know what I mean? I had another point I wanted to.
The age.
Oh yeah.
The last business owners were young.
Yeah, they were young. They're all pushing 60.
61.
I just want to say,
Please.
I just want to say, or ask everyone that they please give us a chance, because we're trying to give you what Normandy needs, but it seems like everyone's just not giving us a chance. We're all professionals. There's nothing, you could check all of our BDBs. We all have great businesses that we run. We're excellent at customer service at everything we do. Yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it. I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am, please.
Hello, Council. My name is Sheila Forrest. I'm the president of Afro World. You guys have seen me before. 7276 Natural Bridge Road, adjacent to the new establishment, Honey Cafe, Honey Wine Bar. And I'm here to actually express my support for the fair agreement that will allow them to become part of our community. After much consideration and prayer for that other situation that I had, I'm trying to put that behind me. As a stock believer in entrepreneurship and community development, I have witnessed firsthand the positive impact that small businesses can have on the neighborhood. Honey Cafe has the potential to contribute significantly to the growth and the vitality of Normandy community, much like similar ventures have done in the neighboring area like Ferguson. One such example is the Beer Bureau in Ferguson. You guys familiar with that one? Which has been a fixture in Ferguson for many years. Despite operating until 10 p.m., they have successfully integrated into the community by ensuring ample lighting, security measures, appropriate insurance coverage. I firmly believe that Honey Cafe can illuminate this model for a responsible business practice, thereby fostering a safe and welcoming environment for everyone. In consulting with my attorney, because I had to call him to find out, because we know that parking is an issue. And, you know, I'm thinking about people. I'm thinking about when the club was down the street when I was younger. You guys probably remember that club. The people, Knicks, yeah, they would walk across. They would be so inebriated, they would walk across and get hit. And there were several occasions that happened. And I thought, out of selfishness, I wouldn't want that to happen to patrons, and I'm right next door to them. So I called my attorney to say, you know, ask for advice, and there's liability reasons for our parking lot, may require enhancements such as sufficient lighting, because I don't have it, I'm not open that time of night, repairs, security, and insurance coverage to accommodate Honey Cafe. For our lot to be used by their patrons, Honey Cafe would have to commit to assuming responsibility for those things. thus mitigating the potential for risk for their patrons. But I'm willing to come into agreement with them to help them to be a partner in this community, because we need something to happen positive in the Norman community. I'm watching businesses all around me just closing, and it just makes me very sad. For over 54 years, Afro World has been a proud member of Norman community, and it's paramount to me that we continue to uphold our legacy of being a good neighbor. So we want to be a good neighbor to everybody, y'all, them back, everybody. And the people that are moving in, we really want to be a good neighbor. So I believe that we can work together with our government to make this successful. In conclusion, I want to express my gratitude for considering my perspective on this matter, and I wholeheartedly urge you guys as a city council to work towards a fair agreement that it enables their establishment in our community. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak on these issues?
And I would hope, and I don't want to take up any more of anybody's time again, but the health department takes 30 to 45 days. School will be out May 25th, 1st of June. I want to have this program in place by then because the kids will be out of school. So the longer that we prolong it, we're hurting the kids more than we hurt anybody. And our seniors, they can't get out to pick up lunch or anything. That's it.
Thank you. If there's no more.
No.
Oh, please, yes.
Mr. and Mrs. Banks at 7247 Normandy Place wanted to talk about their concerns, but they had to go to work, so they couldn't be here. One of the concerns that they had, and they wanted to just let everyone know, was that the parking that would be used for Afro World is directly butts up to their backyard, which is the metal gate that's there. And people driving into the parking lot at night with the lights going into their home was a problem for them. So,
excuse me, go ahead.
So they wanted to let the city know that was an issue in the past. The other thing that they had an issue with in the past was because people park so far away from the establishment, people would loiter in the parking lot because no one from the establishment would walk over, and they wanted to ensure that security was something that you guys took into consideration. The other thing was, she was concerned also about who the owners were. That was an issue. So she was under the impression that you were, because you said it, and she was confused about who exactly had the authority to do what, and everything. So they talked about how they moved here from the city, and that was something that they moved to Normandy Place because it was quiet, because there were older adults, because it was a secure area, and they said that they are concerned that they would have to move if that type of situation doesn't continue on the street. So that was there.
Thank you.
The other thing that I want to, is it time to ask questions? Because I have questions for Mr.
Let's do that after the public hearing portion is closed and we engage in our discussion.
So the thing is, I don't want, some of the questions that I have are directly related to what he walked around the neighborhood and told people, and there are citizens here that might leave. So I wanted to make sure that they're, does that make sense?
Hang on. Yes, I'll allow it. Okay. Go ahead.
Oh, Steve.
Well, how's everybody doing? This meeting was needed. I just wanted to say, this is the first time I ever came down here.
Excuse me, please. Just
Oh,
state your
my name is DeFerro Hannon. I live at 3505 Arcola. I've been a resident for 32 years. And this is the first time I've ever came to a city council meeting and every chair was filled. that's good for here. So, and I also wanted to say, you know, I too was here when there was the Cougars and there was the Knicks, and I used to go to Cougars, and Jackie and my nephew Vincent Thompson, they used to own the bar before the Courtyard lady had it, and we used to go there, you know, New Year's Eve, and we would have a good time. But then the Courtyard spoiled it for everybody. So it's kind of like saying, just because one apple spoiled it, everybody else ain't gonna spoil it. So I would love to give them a chance to come in and see what they do. And if they don't do what they supposed to do, that's why we have you all here to get rid of them. That's my only thing, because I'm not paying for another window that gets broke out because of gun bullets. Bullets in my roof, you know, people parking on my street, going through the gate with screwdrivers to go to the club, and I'm sitting out the window. Who is that? Because there's only 2 houses on the street. Why are you parking on my street to go to this club? So when all that stuff happens, I expect for y'all to do something about it. I don't expect for y'all to just say y'all gonna do something and don't do it. It took y'all forever to get rid of that other club, but look what had to happen to us. One of our kids could have got killed. Like the lady stated, her child coming home, you know, late at night. Somebody could have killed her child because bullets was going like they was crazy around. New Year's Eve, we actually had to go stay at a hotel because of the gunfire. It was just that bad. I left and went to Texas, came back from Texas. My windows broke out. You know why? Because bullets was going through them. Because I live closer to that club than anybody here. You know, me and Brianna, we're the closest. And the new neighbors. And you know the neighbors you're talking about? That neighbor prior to them just moved out. You know why? Because of this kind of stuff. You know? Because of the shooting and stuff. That's why I say when we have police officers, what they do when they drive down Normandy Place, this how they drive. Vroom. There's a street called Arcola. They never hit. So, but why is that? You know, we pay taxes over there as well. So, but I'm just saying, give the people a chance, and if they don't do right, I expect you, Mayor, to be on top of it to get rid of them. Because we don't need that kind of foolishness over here. You know, this is a nice area, and I want to keep it like that. I like living where I live. I don't want to have to move like my neighbor had to move. It broke my heart when that girl and her mama moved. You know why she moved? Because they stole her car. You know why? Because they was parking in front of her house, getting out, urinating, having sex, and going over there to the club. And someone wasn't even going into the club. But we don't have the police coming down there. And when they do come, they do this. Ooh.
So that was my
question. I'm just saying that. Yeah. So I'm done. I just said what I wanted to say, you know, but I would love to come to that club and eat breakfast. I would even volunteer for your children thing, you know, because I don't work but 2 days a week. But I just don't want no foolishness, all that shooting and stuff.
Ma'am, what was your name?
DeFarrell Hinton, 3505 Arcola. DeFarrell Hinton.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you. Thank you. Are there any other citizens that would like to comment? Hearing none, I'm going to close the. Oh,
Wait,
go ahead.
what?
You wanted to ask a question, the owner?
Yeah. Well, Mr. Moore, are you going to list yourself as an owner on the application?
If need be, I will, but I'm not actually, all I'm owner of is the 5013C.
So you're not gonna be on the application?
I don't have a problem with it, and I told you that we would give you in writing the security, the noise, and the cleaning the lot. I told you I would give you that in writing. And when he came and dropped the paperwork off today, he forgot it, but it will be in there tomorrow.
Okay, and then,
Yolanda, this is public comment. It's really not appropriate to do this at this time. We can have our debate. This is
well,
for
I'm confused because
this
there were
is
other.
for the
Yeah,
public.
I understand,
comment.
but there were other council people that also asked questions.
I know, but now it's getting out of control. This is public comment. And when the public's finished with their comments on this issue, we'll go to debate on the ordinance itself.
I just want to make sure that everyone is following the
Okay,
same.
but whose name is on the application isn't relevant to whether this business
But what, no,
is
I'm
appropriate or
not
not
talking
appropriate.
about that. What I'm saying is, I just wanna make sure that everyone is following the same rules, so there were other council people that got to ask questions. So I wanna make sure that while he's standing here, that I get to ask questions too. I wasn't the only person.
And you asked several
I
questions.
have not asked any questions,
Okay.
actually. I haven't asked any questions.
Hold on. Are there any more,
Citizens.
Okay. Okay,
Citizens, are you citizens, sir, behind?
No, the man behind you.
Did you want to come up and speak?
Yes, this is kind of like off schedule, but
state your name, please.
Kenneth Farrar, Farrar. The service road that leads to Glen Echoes,
Do your address, sir.
3622 St. Mary's Lane. The oldest house west of the Mississippi. So, that service road, it gets a lot of traffic. Not only Porsches, Mercedes, BMWs and stuff like that. Trucks, it's a service road, so I mean, they
Is this
drive
about
very.
the public? Okay, so I just wanna make sure that everybody's following the same rules, because this is about the service road.
Right.
And we're talking about the bar.
Yeah, well,
So
no, I'm not,
Tommy
I'm
stood up
talking.
and asked
Hang on. Is this,
I just wanna make sure everybody's following the
it's,
same rules.
is this leading to a comment regarding the bar and grill?
Kinda, cause it's right on the corner.
Okay.
No,
Is this about, this is a public comment about the proposed
Well,
bar and
believe
grill?
me, I see enough of the crashes on the, roundabout.
But where's the service road you're talking about? Is it
The
the
one-
one?
St. Mary's Lane.
We're not here to, okay.
Okay,
Please continue.
I didn't,
No, if it's regarding the bar and grill.
okay, the
application.
paperwork said, different applications.
Applications for the bar and grill.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I'm,
And you'll certainly have an opportunity to
Okay.
address
I
any other
didn't know-
concerns when the
I didn't know
regular
if we
meeting
were done or
opens.
not.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Okay, but, yeah, I'll look at my paperwork.
Thank you.
Okay, Mayor,
Okay.
I can say one thing, Mayor.
Go ahead.
Mr. Kenny Moore,
Yes, sir.
as,
Wait a minute.
Hang on.
Wait,
Hang on. Let's not say
I tried to do this.
Stop.
I would like everyone to follow the
All
same
right.
rules.
All right.
I think that is appropriate. I would like everyone to follow the
All
same
right,
rules.
this is, you will have an opportunity to ask all the
But
questions.
I just tried to do the same
All right,
thing
this
that I
is
was
not-
supposed to be doing.
This is not for us to speak. This is for the public to have their opportunity to comment. We will have all kinds of opportunity to speak. So our questions and our debate can go on when the public comment portion of this is over.
That's all I'm asking,
Okay,
but I
let's
would
finish.
just like.
And I appreciate and I'm overruling it. Thank you.
Let's finish the public.
Let's finish the public comments.
Let's go.
Citizens.
Anybody else?
Is there anybody else that wants to speak on this issue? Hearing none, I'm closing the public comment portion of this meeting. I'm calling to order the city council meeting. May I have a roll call, please?
Councilman Jackson,
Here.
Councilman Sachsenheimer,
Here.
Councilman Jackson,
Yeah.
Councilman Evans,
Here.
Councilman Nelson,
Present.
Councilman Hong,
Present.
Councilwoman Arnott,
Present.
Councilman Campbell.
Here.
You have the floor.
Thank you. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. And appropriate for tonight's meeting, I want to read the vision of the city of Normandy. The city of Normandy will be a safe and family-friendly community that is the historic heart of North St. Louis County with a business corridor that attracts visitors from the entire region.
Freeze.
Oh, thank you. Can I have a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the February 8, 2024 regular city council meeting?
Make a motion.
There's a motion, is there a second? All in favor? Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the February 22, 2024 city council workshop meeting?
So moved.
There's a motion, is there a second? There's a second, all in favor?
I have a correction. On number 5, the discussion of Council Bill 2333, where we talked about zoning, there was a discussion that planning and zoning recommended not changing the, not having restrictions on the, on parking code. And we had an impromptu vote, the council, and Andy talked about how he was gonna bring, some information back to us, but that was omitted from the minutes. Was that, when I looked at the video?
Are you on the workshop meeting?
Yeah, I'm on number 5, 2334.
I think I may be able to clarify. So, I think that discussion had under section 3, when we were talking about the mixed use district. Number 5 is just about the special use permit, 45790 amendment, which I don't think we talked about parking at that time.
We did.
I think the parking discussion did take place, Yolanda, under, same page you're on, number 3, discussion of Council Bill 2331.
Yeah, and then on the last sentence of number 3, there was a discussion of including guided parking regulation requirements specified.
So that's the part?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Can we include what, the recommendation from zoning and
Well,
planning?
their minutes are also
Okay.
part of this packet.
Okay. Should we, so we don't have to put the impromptu vote or anything that we had, or what Andy said? That's not something that we need to add.
Remember you said you were gonna check fluorescent, and we did
Right.
an impromptu vote.
So that doesn't need to be.
I don't recall the vote.
It wasn't,
Yeah,
it was kind of like
Yeah,
a
there was
informal
a
vote.
It's
discussion
an informal vote.
whether we should have square footage.
Oh, whether to
based
bring those
regulations or
ideas to the,
density-based regulations.
yeah, I don't think we need
Okay.
a motion, there wasn't a motion and a vote, it was just, hey, what do you guys wanna do? Okay, and those information was gonna be brought to the next workshop. Anything else? We have a motion, we have a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries.
Here. Can I clarify the second on that motion?
You broke up a little bit, please, again.
Who made the second on that motion?
The first was made by Rick Nelson. Who made the second on the motion to approve? Kevin Jackson.
Thank you.
All right. Now, for those of you who had comments on issues unrelated to the special permit, please take this opportunity to come to the podium.
Yeah, this is just a safety issue.
Sure, sure.
Like I said, we get a lot of traffic down that road, that service road.
Okay.
And we got kids running around there. And we don't have anything. I mean, the only thing that's been done by the city has been painted 2 speed bumps. But still, they fly through there, man, I see them cars, they come off the ground when they hit them speed bumps. They don't slow down a bit. There ain't nothing slowing them down. And it's just a little short strip. But there's kids running around there on skateboards and, you know, I don't want it to be an issue to where, you know, one of the kids get hit and, you know, we get some kind of, situation on that street. You know what I mean? Because it's a very quiet street. You know, I don't want it to be some kind of situation where, you know, we're gonna have an eruption, basically. Because those kids, they don't know, you know, and dogs, they don't know, or, you know, our dogs they don't know. And the kids are running on roller skates and bicycles and skateboards. They don't know you know, they're only this big, you know. We don't need people flying down the road at 60 miles an hour, you
I
know,
appreciate it.
to go to a dead end. The semis, we can't do anything about the trucks. I like the trucks, you know, because they do actually, you know, stay within limit. But some of them,
1 minute remaining.
some of them.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm just saying, let's do something about slowing the traffic down. The kids ain't gonna just, you know, stay in their yard. They're gonna ride down the street on their bikes, and, you know, I just don't want it to be an eruption right there in front of my house. You know, and I don't think anyone else wants anyone to get hurt, you know, on our street. So, I mean, let's do something. That's the only thing that we've done is painted the speed bumps. If we have more speed bumps or, you know, something, I don't know. I'm not an engineer. But I think we need to slow that traffic down. I mean, not the volume, I'm talking about the speed.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
There was a gentleman in the back that, and then you'll be up next, sir.
Again, I'm Tommy Watson. My address is 7239 Omni Place. You are the mayor. I remember talking to you when you first ran. My issue is, in the back of my house, there's Dr. DeClue. There was a tree back there that fell on my original fence. And it's the reason why the fence is damaged and down. I was promised by the last mayor they was gonna fix it if I did what I was supposed to do in bringing up my house to code, which I've done. So I'm getting crazy through there. I just got a dog. I'm gonna put my beware of dog sign up, no trespassing, to cover myself. But I get crazy through my yard, and it's starting to be concerning to me. I have grandkids, and you know, it's an issue, because I get all type of people cutting through her in the middle of the night and stuff. And I believe if you set that down, it's gonna, you know, make our street hole where there's no gaps for people to cut through and get in.
Give me your address again, please.
Excuse me?
Your address one more time.
7239 Normandy Place.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate it.
And I'll leave my number. We can, you know, try to work it out or whatever it is.
Give me after the meeting.
All right.
Thank you. There was a gentleman in front of you, Terry, then you'll be next.
Hello, how you doing? I'm John. I'm at 7246 St. Andrew. And what I was complaining about, we got driveways on one side and no parking sign on the other side. You know, we don't have no driveways, but they got driveways on the left side. We don't have no driveways on the right side. So when we have company, they can only park on one side. On the left side. I'm trying to get.
What street is that?
St. Andrew.
St. Andrew.
7200. That's my complaint.
I appreciate it.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you, sir.
I'll take a look, see.
All right.
Ms. Terry?
Okay, because you have comments of the citizens before you vote on stuff, I just wanna, hey, and you know what, San Bernardino has the same problem, all the people with driveways have the parking, and all the people with no driveways don't have parking. So, San Bernardino, same issue. Okay, so I wanted to address a couple of things that you're gonna be voting on ordinances. The sign ordinance, you know, as a realtor, I thought, well, and having been on planning and zoning, I thought you had a ordinance that didn't allow directional arrows during the week, only open house arrows when there's actual open house. but I've been seeing signs, arrows, like for weeks, directing people. I've never done it because I thought it was against the law. So they used to take your sign if you had a directional arrow saying that a house was on the market and it was not an open house, off the property. I'm talking off the property on the corner of Natural Bridge, Florissant Road, wherever. Okay, so I don't know if that's in here. I didn't get a chance to read it. The other thing that I wanted to comment on was the Historic Preservation Commission, which we've been working on this stuff. And this was one of the things that we promised when, you know, to Glen Echo Park, because they're a historic district over there, that we would have a Historic Preservation Commission. We have a commission, but I guess we have to revise some things. So I just want you to vote yes, and we want to do historic preservation. So those are the only
So
things.
is that a survey that you guys wanna do, Terry?
Huh?
What are you guys doing?
No, we're just establishing, we have to reestablish the Historic Commission because now Glen Echo Park.
Oh, okay.
It's already-
Yeah, that's what I was getting ready to say,
Right.
because I thought it was already.
Right, we already did it, but now that they're here, you have to redo it.
Okay, I got you.
And then we have other stuff, so I'm just saying,
Okay.
vote yes for historic preservation. Okay.
Thank you, Terry. Thank you. I will address the sign issue. We've been advised that we regulate signs regardless of content. So we can't regulate content. And that's the reason for the change.
Okay.
All right. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'll be short. My name is Joan Lane and I'm at 7242 St. Andrews. And I think we need voter registration drive. There's too many people not voting in this area. And they move in, they move out. We don't get change of addresses, so we need to have a group that wants to do that voter registration in the area. Thank you.
Thank you. Please.
Well, I'm back again, talking about 7203 St. Andrews Road. That's been vacant and for 12 years. And
Who are you?
I'm Mary Ann Dunlap, and I live at 7208 St. Andrews Road, 63121. The last time I was here, you advised me to make my complaint to the code enforcement inspector. What is the process for that? You didn't give me any parameters.
Well, you can call directly, or you can make a complaint on our website.
Okay,
There's a
what
way
is
to
the
file
number
it.
that I call?
314.
Thank you, Sam.
385-3300, and his extension is 3016.
May I repeat that? 314-385-3300?
Yes.
And that's extension 3016.
If you're having issues, you can contact me on 3014.
And I have a question for you, the attorney.
City administrator.
Okay, has there been any contact with Mr. Porter, the owner, in
Not
the
at this
last
point.
6 months?
Not from the city of Norman.
Oh, that's why he's not doing anything, then he hasn't heard from anybody. Yes.
Well, we've only, can I respond to that?
Please.
We've only been a part of the city of Normandy for a month and a couple of days. Yes, there were attempts made to contact Mr. Porter, the owner of that house, repeatedly. I believe he blocked my number. I've looked up new numbers for him, and it always goes straight to voicemail. And part of that had to do with, we already have a judgment against the house. It's been condemned. We didn't have a court for the last year of our existence. Andy and I have talked about that house, and it is on a list of houses to be dealt with. I have some ideas to present to the city of Normandy about how that might be addressed, but I'm not a voting member of this board.
What can we do about that house? It burned in 72, it burned in 2012, I believe. And I've been looking at it because it just catty-cornered from my house. And I wish I could just paint it and put some windows in it or something.
As it was stated, it's been in the city of Normandy for a month.
Yes.
And it's on the list of items to do.
So step one, again, is to contact the code enforcement?
We're aware of that house. Yeah.
So could you step that up for me, because it looks like it's not going anywhere. Step one, the code enforcement, then what happens after that?
Right, and step one is code enforcement who contacts the owner, and as explained, it's been condemned. So if there's violations, there's citations, but that doesn't fix the problem. It's very difficult to have a house demolished, and that could be one of the directions that's headed. So.
Well, there are people who have asked me about buying a house. I usually come out of my house when I see someone out there.
Yeah,
And
we
they-
can't fix this at tonight's meeting, I
Yeah.
appreciate it, but
Yeah, but I'll do
we're aware
whatever
of
it
it, it's
takes,
on the
because
radar.
it seems like
Yeah.
dragging your feet.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
No, we're aware of it, and we've got a code compliance officer now, and we've got a process in place to deal with it, but it's very difficult to make somebody do something. I mean, they can pay fines, and the house can be condemned, it can be torn down, but that process takes a long time, and it takes a court process.
What can I do to help? Because I am really a social activist.
You've already done it.
I will do even more.
You've already
because
done it.
It's
Yeah,
been
yeah,
12
sure.
years.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah, so whatever you need done, just please call me.
Thank you.
And if I could do anything, I would be glad to do that. I've been to Mr. Porter's house. I've taken letters out to his house. I'm very active in terms of getting something done. And it's been 12 years. That's a long time.
Yes, ma'am.
It's a long time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Mayor Beckman, and good evening, council members, and good evening to the residents. My name is Christopher Petty, and I'm here as a candidate for school board. I want to begin my comments this evening by first of all saying it is extremely refreshing to see and witness the civic engagement that's in this room tonight. It's encouraging to me. I just want to take a few minutes to draw a stark contrast between myself and the other candidates that are running for school board. I am the only candidate in the race that has school board governance experience. I'm the only candidate in the race that has experience at the district office level in the superintendent's cabinet. And I'm the only candidate in the race that has spent any time in the school buildings with the principals, understanding what building leadership takes. These experiences prepare me to understand the challenges that the district currently faces and also understand what it takes to meet those challenges. I want to just kind of end my comments by giving you a simple example. I also serve on the board of the Affinia Healthcare Foundation. Affinia Healthcare has a satellite office in Normandy High School, but that program is not at capacity. And when programs like that offer wraparound services to our students are not at capacity, it means the students are not getting what they need. And we need to make sure that programs like that are at capacity. And that's the experience that I bring to the school board. So I just wanted to say hello to everyone tonight. I have some literature if anybody would like it. I have my contact information there, and if anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Are there any other public comments? Hearing none, we're moving forward. Report of officers. I have no report this evening. Is there a report from Ward 1?
No. I'm good.
Ward 3, any report?
Two.
Or Ward 2, any report?
All I want to say is, I want to say something about the cars that started speeding down my street again, doing donuts at the end of the block. And one of the cars is a gray Charger, and for sure we know about this Charger in the neighborhood because it doesn't have plates on it. And everybody goes down my street, the police department, and they know the house, where these guys are coming by, doing all driving fast, they mostly Chargers 300s. And again, with a cul-de-sac, they doing donuts. Okay, we didn't get a speed bump, and I understand that, we worked that out. But we have to do something about it because my neighbors are complaining, and for me to be on the street and this is happening and nothing is being done. And this is not just this year, it's been every year that they've been down there. We need to do something about it. So that's my report. We need to do something about those speeding cars that's running around here.
Anything further?
Sure, I have a comment. Okay, just want to speak on the Red River Rookies, youth baseball organization. We just started registration and we have over 115 kids as of today. That 115 is probably ages 5 to 13, so we're expecting like 170 kids before it's over with. And we also have an RBI program, ages 14 to 19 years old. And we do have a couple kids from the Norman School District. And right now, we have a total of like 30 kids. So we're doing pretty good on that. That's all I have.
Thank you. Ward 3.
The Core Collective will be hosting a tentative get-together for the solar eclipse that will happen on April 8th. That's a Monday afternoon. Partial totality is just before 1 p.m., I believe. I don't have that in front of me. I tried looking it up. But they're trying to have an event with food trucks. Everyone is welcome to come. I'm finalizing plans with them, and it's open to the community at this point. So more to follow up on that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Hey, my name is Rick Nelson. I'm the district chess coach of the Normandy Collaborative. And I just want to thank Dr. Petty for coming today because he's helped us facilitate our kids. And for the last couple of years, we've had a tournament at Lucas Crossing, actually last year, this year, and also one at the Connector, the new building at the high school. And we will be taking our kids to state Saturday at Columbia. And I want to thank you for coming, sir, and I do support you.
Hey, Rick, how many kids you got in your program?
In our program? Oh, God. I mean, it's, we've got kids in.
No, just a number.
Numbers, hundreds.
You got hundreds?
At least. We got kids in every school, every elementary school, every, we're even have a program in the early childhood. We got kids 3 and 4 years old that are grabbing chess pieces. You know, we have a program, 5-year plan with UMSL to make sure that we're 2 of the only cities in St. Louis that the kids can go to early childhood, elementary school, middle school, high school, and college without leaving your city. We got UMSL over here. Webster University is the only other city. So we got plans for our kids. It's about our kids and also our seniors. You know, the guys in the middle, I'm sorry, you guys just got to hold on.
Thank you.
So thank you very much.
Ward 4.
Yes, tomorrow at Beyond Housing, they're going to have a forestry and community conservation forum from 9:30 to 12, and that's including forestry trees, tree planting events, vacant lot remediation, natural area improvements, cost share grant assistance, litter and trash cleanup, urban fishing and greenway trails. The forestry department through Beyond Housing is heading this and is connecting up with other people in the area. It will be very good, 9:30 to 12. Then also the partnership meetings with Beyond Housing. They're trying to do a 24/1 kind of environmental health. They had Jean Posey come, and she's internationally known, she's locally, we're so lucky to have her at the Botanical Gardens, and kind of giving us supervising suggestions how we can become green cities. And some of the examples is she'll go into a business or a city, and they'll determine what they're going to work on, and she supports them and follows through with them, and she's very effective. She's been around a long time. We're very lucky to have her, and they're also going to be starting voting. Not just before elections, though. We need a voting curriculum kind of program with civic awareness, and that's just, it's at the beginning. But I will follow it up, and already expressed interest in that. So Beyond Housing is attempting to form a program like that.
Can I ask you a question about the first thing that you were talking about, the program tomorrow?
Yes.
That included some community, are they just talking about these things tomorrow and telling you what resources there'll be available?
That's part, will include presentations and representatives from Beyond Housing, the Missouri Department of Conservation, Great River, Greenway, Forest Relief of Missouri. So there's.
So the neighborhood cleanup thing,
Yes.
I might try to get over there.
Thank you, Debbie.
You're welcome.
Just your letter.
Will you give us the date on that again?
Tomorrow?
Or is it tomorrow? What time?
The, from 9:30 to 12.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Shalonda.
Ward 4 was awarded a $2,000 grant from STL Invest to do
Outstanding.
a meet and greet with our new members, Glen Echo. So we are going to have a, basically like a welcoming party. We are scouting locations, and in the next 2 months, we will be picking out a date. We're hopeful that the premise is that the new residents and people who haven't been involved would get to know the mayor, the city administrator, the city clerk, and then we would give out information so that they could take home, so they know who to call, and then also just to also meet each other and meet us and know who we are, and also to have family activities for the kids and everything. So, and we're also going to have it catered. So we're very excited about that, and thank you to STL Invest for accepting our application.
Congratulations.
We'll have flyers out.
Ms. Vicky, any report from Glen Echo? Our previous Glen Echo? It is still Glen Echo.
Well, we're always
Right,
be
it's a
Glen
historic
Echo.
neighborhood, yes.
It will always be the historic village of Glen Echo.
Yes.
Yeah, there have been some tickets written for long-standing complaints. Those who want to know directly which ones, I'll tell you after the meeting.
All right. Moving forward, city administrator.
I don't have too much to report. I'm sure I'll speak plenty when the ordinances come up. I will let the council know that we're planning to very soon get an RFP out for waste collection, single-family solid waste collection, as our waste management contract is ending in December, as well as the Village of Glen Echo's contract with the Republic is ending in December. So we'll move forward with the same provider from there. So I'm working to get that RFP out. And then also we're going to be putting out a request for qualifications from different insurance brokers, so that way we can get some competitive quotes for liability insurance, workers' comp insurance, as well as revisit our employee health benefits and those insurances. In addition to that, I don't know if it was mentioned in Dennis's report, but things are moving along with our consultants for Ozell Park and the park grant that we got for that. They're hoping to have design plans for review and then to go out to bid very soon. I think by the end of this month. And then also they are finishing up work on the street assessment right now as well. So I think that's all I have to report unless there's any questions.
Any questions for Sam?
So the street assessment is the same company as the Hosel Park?
Yes.
Sam,
All right.
can I mention something about trash with Republic?
Sure.
Any of the people who are in the historic village of Glen Echo, we have a separate trash contract than Normandy, the larger Normandy has right now because of our unique situation with losing our trash provider. There have been, and I sent emails to people, but there are some rules about how you put your trash out. I'm preaching to the choir here because I don't have any complaints with anybody who's in this room, but you might want to, if you have a good relationship with your neighbors, let them know that only the trash containers that were provided by either St. Louis County for the recycling or the Republic are authorized to be picked up. No trash on top, nothing on the ground. That stuff has to be in the containers, and the containers need to be 5 feet apart and placed correctly, so that the trucks can come in and they don't want to get out the trucks, they have automated robo trucks. So if we can pass the word about that, and I'll try to get more information. And if you would go to to Republic's website and register, you can get your bills electronically, and you can see your credits for the time that Glen Echo paid.
No, that's just out of order now. Thank you.
After
the
the
meeting.
meeting, I'll answer
Okay.
any questions
Thank you.
that you have.
I've already told the Attorney General.
Chief of Police?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Mayor, council, citizens of Normandy. Police Department report for this month spans between Thursday, February 1st and Friday, March 1st, 2024. There were 898 calls for service, 123 police reports generated, 15 accident reports, 280 citations, and 159 business checks. I wanted to very quickly address a few things with regards to the traffic that's going up and down Glen Echo, from St. Mary's into the Glen Echo Country Club. I will go by tomorrow and speak with the Glen Echo Country Club staff about the commercial motor vehicles and encourage them to bring their vehicles in off of Lucas and Knight. With regards to the concerns regarding speeding vehicles, we'll stick our officers out there, we'll conduct a traffic survey to determine what the violations are. And when appropriate, we'll conduct enforcement on St. Mary's. The next thing is, I heard the complaint about the speeding vehicles on Bermuda Court. We'll also conduct a traffic survey there tomorrow and take care of any necessary violations we observed during that time. And then I just wanted to quickly report that we have increased the traffic enforcement on in Burnell Hills, Bellwood, Stanwood, and then the intermediate streets. There seems to be more issues with regard to derelict vehicles, but we've moved a lot of vehicles out of that area. And we've cited quite a few people in those areas for the illegally parked vehicles, unlicensed vehicles parked on city streets and right-of-ways. The traffic survey revealed that there's more people that are actually running the stop sign, which we already do at Bellwood and Bermuda, and I personally issue citations there several times a week. So the traffic enforcement is going to continue, and that's what I have for this month.
Chief.
Yes.
How you doing?
Good, how you?
Thank you about Bermuda Court, but I think, is it Officer Lawson?
Major Lawson, yes,
Yeah,
sir.
Major Lawson. I think he spoke with those. He's aware of the area I'm talking about, and I think he spoke on this in the summertime. One day he came down and then he stopped at my house and we talked for a little bit, but he's kind of familiar with the house.
He's on a meeting right now, and we're
Okay.
actually texting as soon as you brought it up. We're gonna take care of it first thing tomorrow.
Okay, thank you. And the one car, the gray car Charger is back under the carport, doesn't have plates on it, but he came flying down the block, then came to Bermuda, did a donut, then went back down, and then on the cul-de-sac and did.
When you guys see stuff like that, if you could, call us right away, because if we get there and we actually witness the violation, we can
They was
cite,
done
and if
already.
necessary, we can arrest.
They was done already. By the time I
Well,
I was
still call,
called, I was
still call.
called, I was called and was told, somebody called me.
We can't, after the meeting, I can
Thank
tell
you.
us.
That was it.
Out of order, please.
Yeah, thank you, Chief.
No, let me just explain, I know you guys are used to, once the council meeting starts, everybody has an opportunity for citizens' comments. And if I'm not mistaken, you're gonna have another opportunity for citizens' comments at the end of the meeting. But during the meeting, the conversation needs to be restricted to the members of the council and administration. I appreciate it.
All right, Mayor Chief, I want to commend you and our agency for doing a wonderful job with that dementia patient a few weeks ago. Heard
Thank
about
you.
that. That was a great job we did, and I can just say kudos.
Thank you very much, I'll pass the word.
Thank you.
And I want to say, I witnessed you coming down Normandy Place slowly.
Right.
Consistently. Thank you.
I appreciate that, thank you.
You didn't give me a ticket.
Thank you.
I can't fit down our cold, my car's too big.
At the circle, there is an area that says no parking, and it's striped, and it also has a no parking sign. But,
It's being enforced.
It's consistently like being used.
We're
for
writing tickets.
Parking, okay.
Every time we get a call or an officer sees it, we are writing tickets, and we're contemplating bringing an ordinance before you guys to classify it as a tollway zone. So-
Good.
All right. Thank you. Moving on. Dennis?
I've got nothing more to add to my report. It's a long one this month.
Thank you.
There's a lot of stuff going
Any
on.
questions for Dennis?
I have a question.
Go ahead, please.
How hard would it be to generate reports by ward of what's going on? Like the numbers of code violations, the progress, when it was reported, when it was handled? Because we get the overall one, which is very good, but we don't know necessarily by ward so that our council people could know what's going on.
Are you looking for just the code part or the public works part too?
I would think that, I was talking about code, but perhaps the public works stuff would be good too.
Public works would be a lot harder than the code, but I
So
can look
let's
into, but I
do-
can look into it. and see
Let's
what
start
I-
with the code then.
See what I can do.
Thanks.
Dennis, I have a question. You sent an email earlier saying that you went up there and sprayed. Did you do both sides or
No, just field two.
just field two?
Yeah. Yeah, we only spray field.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
didn't
field, I was down there over the weekend. Field one looked okay, but
Yeah, that's
field.
why we didn't spray it. I didn't know if the chemicals on it or not. We can.
It looks okay.
Code enforcement. We have behind the church. Can't remember the street that's right behind the church.
Bishop Johnson.
That's right.
Bishop Johnson.
Yeah, well, you got the street and then you either make a left or a right.
Far
Well,
away. Far away.
Far away, there you go. I remember. We got a truck that's been on, SUV, been on jacks for like weeks on the street. I mean, it's like cars in front of the house. Is there anything we could do about that?
So the ones that are on the street, there was a gentleman that actually came in to file a complaint the other day about receiving some notices on his vehicles. And if you're speaking about when you come in on Faraway, go to the left,
Yeah,
and then houses on the left,
on the right. It's on the right. It's
next to
a
the
truck.
bacon house,
It's like in the middle of the block before you make that. I got, couldn't get there, but it's a lot of cars in there. But the truck's been on, the SUV's been on jacks for at least 2-3 weeks.
is it on the driveway or the street?
It's on the street. It's right in front of the house, and like I said, it's a bunch of cars that be there.
I think they have it on jacks because they have a warning to remove all those vehicles, so they might be trying to fix them, but
But this been like for 3 weeks. I go around the blocks, I go around my whole ward at least twice a month, twice a week, and I know it's been.
I
there
drive
for a while.
all the neighborhoods, all the
Yeah.
streets every Monday, so I
That's
know
fine.
exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, I just thought that was dangerous for them to still have jacks on it. A car being on there, is that,
Not necessarily.
no?
Not
Okay, so we can
necessarily.
just,
But-
they can just have jacks and
On the
that could be
premise-
their parking.
On the premise that it's derelict. If it's a derelict vehicle or it's a nuisance, then we can cite it under the nuisance. But the premise that it's on a jack stand in and of itself, I mean, if the person was out there changing a tire, we wouldn't pull up and cite someone who's changing a tire.
No, that's not what I was saying. I was saying that it's been like that for 3 or 4 weeks.
And I know.
On the jacks.
And it wasn't that way previously. I think they're trying to fix the vehicles to get them moved because they received a warning, the vehicles are all going to be towed.
Okay, for the same vehicle, okay.
Well, they have a lot of them.
No, I'm just saying
Yeah.
specifically the same one, but that's fine, I'm just saying, right now, we can park on Normandy streets, on jacks. Basically, that's what we're saying.
No, it's not. I said we'll take care of it.
Okay, thank you.
Dennis, I have a question. For now that we have our residents of Glen Echo Park as well, are you able to quickly, if necessary, coordinate county services for sewer lateral for all Normandy residents? I know there's a process and there should be I apologize, I
Well,
wasn't
we adopted,
prepared.
we adopted a new.
Yeah,
Right, the
it's-
new the updated ordinance and the
There's been
updated
someone
fee
from
schedule as well.
that area already apply.
Oh, okay.
to it.
Okay, alright, never mind, thank you, thanks.
All right, moving on. Mr. Ellis.
given to the mayor, councilpersons, administrators, and residents, guests. You should have the report for the monthly financial report for January 31st, as well as my narrative. I will attempt to walk through this evening. Sometimes my voice cooperates, sometimes it does not, but we will trudge through. So, per the financial report, we'll start with part 1, section A, summary of the income statement.
I'm sorry, real quick. I apologize, the narrative did not get put in the packet.
I didn't see it.
Oh.
You'll just have to follow along on the script.
We'll follow along with it.
Okay.
That's my fault, I apologize.
Well, I did submit it this morning.
You did.
So that's on me as well, so I'm gonna try to be a little more timely with that.
Oh, you're
so.
good, you're.
Alright. So part 1, section A, summary of the income statement. For the month of January, the city recorded a net gain of $9,000. That's for revenues of $306,000 compared to expenditures of $297,000. Due to that result, the city realized an overall net deficit for the fiscal year to date of $473,000. That's revenues of $1.3 million versus expenditures of $1.773 million. In part 1, section B, summary of the general fund balance. You have general fund unrestricted cash balance as of January 31st, 2024 of $1,173,000. And for the general fund board designated as of January 31st, that amount is $746,000. Amounts due to general fund from other funds is $67,000, and amounts due from general fund to other funds is $66,000. And that results in an overall total for the general fund of $428,000. Part 1, section C, income for the general fund. Ideally, the percentage of budget remaining for income at fiscal year end should be, well, okay, I need to revise that again. The amount, the percentage of budget remaining for income, I guess for the first 4 months of the fiscal year is how that should read. Should be at or below 66.7%, which would indicate that the amount of actual income was either the same or more than the budget amount of income. Unfortunately, the city fell short of the budget amount for income for fiscal year to date by $278,000, or 5.8% of the total budget amount. Conversely, in part 1, section D, expenditures by department, general fund, the percentage of budget remaining for expenditures for the first 4 months of this fiscal year should be at or above 66.7%, which would indicate that the amount of actual expenditures was either the same or less than the budget amount of expenditures. Unfortunately, the city spent more than it had budgeted for fiscal year to date by more than $194,000, or 4.1% of the total budget amount. However, when it came to individual departments, some fared better in keeping expenses under budget while others did not. The departments under budget were park, prosecuting attorney, and court. Those that were over budget were street, police, and administration. So considering that we did have the mild gain in January, I would still consider us in an amber situation. But again, we are only 4 months through the year, or 1/3 of the fiscal year. So we definitely still have time to be able to make a greater progress towards the game. Yes.
As part of the merger consolidation, rather, agreement with Glen Echo funds were supposed to be kept in a separate account, only to be used in Glen Echo. How have those funds been accounted for in here?
So I'm gonna be able to answer that. Our financial reports run 2 months behind.
Gotcha.
So this is
Okay.
January, so into February. If you would like to see that reflected separately on the council report, it will be reflected separately in our books, but in the
Right.
council report, if you would like to see that separately, I can arrange
That'd be
that.
great, thank
Okay.
you.
So, Sam, the 4% off budget on expenditures has been explained with the MoPerm insurance being paid up front, $400 and something thousand, and those bills have all been paid. That one I understand. Is there some concern on the 6% off budget on the revenue? Is that the down economy? What do you see there?
Sure. First, I would like to correct you. So there still is a MoPerm payment that will be reflected in February, because we did pay in installments.
Okay.
Now, the installments are still very large, so, just wanna correct that. And then, as far as the revenue, there's some grant revenue that, is one time in the year that we can expect, but also we are running under budget as far as court revenue from what we budgeted. So, I'm gonna be, working, with you, Mayor, and some department heads, and we're gonna see where we're at, and hopefully bring a proposal to council if needed to adjust.
Thank you.
Sam, I'd like to ask a question, please. Administration, police, and streets are where we're having problems or overspending? Is that what it is? Yeah.
Yes, and just like what the mayor brought up, the insurance bills were primarily split up against those 3 departments. And so,
So with the street department, are we going to work on the streets or anything before spring? Well, spring's here. Going to do anything for the summer? What we got planned?
as far as major road repair
Yeah.
or anything like that, so as I mentioned in my report, we're hoping to receive our street assessment back very soon. And then, hopefully the council can make a decision on how to spend our funds, not in general fund, but in street reconstruction fund, which, if you look on page 2 and 3 of the report, you can see the fund balance. On page 2, part B, you can see the fund balance for,
And that's
street
separate,
improvement, and that's at 277,000.
and that's separate from the public,
That
works
is
department?
separate from general fund.
Okay.
Thank you. Anyone else? Is there a motion to approve the January 31, 2024 fiscal report?
Motion.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ellis.
Have a good night.
All right, moving on, new business, Council Bill 24-01. Is there a motion for the first reading of Council Bill 24-01?
06?
I'm sorry, Council Bill 24-06. Is there a motion for the first reading?
I'll make a motion.
We have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries.
Wait a minute.
What? I'm having the first reading.
Oh, okay. I'm confused. I was confused.
Yeah.
All right.
An ordinance of the city of Norman, Missouri, granting to Honey's Cafe a special use permit for the operation of a restaurant at 7312 Natural Bridge Road and establishing certain conditions related thereto. So what we'll do is we'll take a motion to adopt. If there's a second, we'll have a conversation.
Well,
Are we just doing the
hold on.
restaurant?
Okay, go ahead.
Procedurally, we can't adopt until we have a second reading. So
Yeah.
I would recommend we
I mean,
have the debate now that we've had the first reading.
Are we just doing the restaurant part?
Okay,
Yes.
Reading.
yeah. So,
And if it's okay with you, I would like to
please, go ahead.
present on the council bill. All right, so I know we've had the public hearing and we've already talked about this some, but I would just like to kind of go over the report that was in the packet that was submitted on behalf of the Planning and Zoning Commission, just kind of giving the details up until this point of the process that we've been through with these two special use permits. So there are two separate special use permits, one for a restaurant and one for a bar, both to be operated at 7312 Natural Bridge Road, which is located in the F District, which is our general commercial district. Under the F District and our special use ordinance, both of these uses require a special use permit from the city, which basically allows it to be permitted if it goes through this process and all these extra reviews. And the special use permit allows the council to attach conditions. So this use is permitted if X, Y, and Z, and those have to be related to relevant zoning matters. So just some background. I know everyone is quite familiar. This location at 7312 Natural Bridge has been a bar and grill before. It's been under several different ownerships. It's received special use permits in the past. Although I think procedurally there may have been an issue with Courtyard Bar and Grill and it didn't get a special use permit, but I was not here at this time, so I'm not 100% sure on that. Courtyard Bar and Grill was the last occupant, and they did leave in November of 2022 after their liquor license was not renewed, following numerous complaints that I'm sure everyone is aware of and the residents spoke about tonight. So after reviewing the submitted applications for the special use permit, which should be included in the packet, mostly regarding the interior site plan and the exterior site plan. Planning and zoning voted on February 20th to recommend approval to the city council, stipulating that Honey's Wine, their recommended condition was that Honey's Wine Bar closed by 10 p.m. on Sunday through Thursday and 11 p.m. on Friday and Saturday. A public hearing was set with 15 days notice and written notice being given to those property owners within 185 feet of the property. We just had that public hearing earlier tonight, which is required by state statute and our code. The application that was submitted included the application's face sheet, a survey plat, which is an exterior site plan, and interior site plan. Also included was a business plan, which is part of the project report that Honey's offered, including an agreement between Honey's Wine Bar and Cafe and how they are separate. Also, they included their menu, which isn't directly related to zoning concerns, but I guess it tells you about their business plan. And then also included was a copy of a section from their lease with the landlord, Vaughn Industries, regarding that they have full use of the parking lot at 7286 Natural Bridge. So the property at 7312 Natural Bridge was built in 1930 before our zoning codes. So it is a property that reaches beyond our normal setbacks. It's an older building, and it's grandfathered in terms of setbacks and some of the building codes relating to those natures. It is in the F District. It is a two-story brick frame building. I believe it has it has a large warehouse portion that was historically an auto body and a car storage place, and then it has the portion with the bar, and then there's two other units right next to the bar as well. The entire building square footage, which includes the car storage place, according to county records, is 18,590 square feet. The applicants, with the interior site plan they submitted, is roughly 3,400 square feet. 7286 Natural Bridge, which is the adjoining lot, provides the parking for the building. It has 22 parking spots, and according to our zoning, and I'll get into this later, but for the square footage of the restaurant, proposed restaurant and bar, they would need 17 parking spots. So, those parking restrictions are set out for all eating establishments in the F district. It's 200 square feet of floor space. They need, for every 200 square feet, they need one parking space. As far as the special use permit and what is considered tonight, in 45790, there are 7 different burdens of proof that the applicants have to meet. So that's the special, and I'm going to list them out now. So they have to prove that this proposed special use complies with all applicable provisions in the district and all district regulations. The proposed special use at the specified location will contribute and promote the welfare and convenience of the public. The special use will not have a negative impact on the value of other properties in the neighborhood in which it is located. For the location and size of the special use, nature and intensity of the operation involved in are conducted in connection with it, and the location of the site with respect to street giving access to it are such that the special use will not dominate the immediate neighborhood as to prevent development and use neighboring property in accordance with applicable zoning district regulations. In determining whether the special use will dominate the immediate neighborhood, consideration will be given to the location, nature, height of building structures, walls, lighting, and fences on the site, and then the nature and extent of proposed landscaping and screening on the site. Number 5, the applicants need to prove that the off-street parking and loading areas are provided in accordance with the standards set forth in the regulations, which I just spoke about earlier. 6, they have to prove that adequate utility, drainage, and other such necessary facilities are provided. And 7, and this is kind of the general thing, they have to prove that the special use is consistent with good planning practice, can be operated in a manner that's not detrimental to permitted developments in the district. It can be developed and operated in a manner that is visually compatible with permitted uses in the surrounding area, and is deemed essential or desirable to preserve and promote the public health, safety, and general welfare of the city of Normandy. So upon review of the Planning and Zoning Commission, they found that the residents did meet the burden of proof. However, they did have some concerns about they had some concerns about how late the bar would be open and how that would impact neighboring properties, specifically those properties which back up to Normandy Place, and then those all across the street on Augusta. There are residential neighborhoods in the area very close to the bar. So they recommended the restrictions on the bar that I mentioned earlier, which is closing by 10 p.m. on Sunday through Thursday, and 11 p.m. on Friday and Saturday. Otherwise, they recommended approval. I will say that 2 things have come to my attention. As far as our building inspector, he brought to my attention that they currently don't have a dumpster enclosure on the site. The landlord doesn't, and an ordinance which we recently updated, which is our solid waste ordinance, provides that all commercial buildings need to have a dumpster enclosure in order to operate. So that would be a hindrance to an occupancy permit. So, and also on the site plan that was submitted, there's a marked location for trash, but there's not a marked location for the dumpster enclosure. That's not strictly a hindrance for approval from the council. If there is approval, I would recommend that it be conditional upon the building of a dumpster enclosure. However, if the council wishes to see that added to the site plan, that would be totally legitimate, because it could have an impact on the parking spaces, depending on where the dumpster enclosure goes. And second, what was the second one? Councilwoman Cam-
Well, was it seating outside?
Yes, thank you very much. Yeah, Councilwoman Campbell did ask me a question about outdoor seating. So outdoor seating is listed on the exterior site plan as 4 seats. However, a review of our code, I'm convinced that outdoor seating is not permitted in the city of Normandy due to setbacks and just the general fact that the code is overall silent. So I read it as the setback requirements do come into play. Other cities, it's very common to require permits for this, and I talked to Andy about this morning. So the outdoor seating requirement would need to either be addressed in the special use permit, either saying it's not allowed or saying it is allowed, or if it remains silent, and if it's not allowed, then it needs to be removed from the site plan. And then if we want to revisit that at a later date and adopt an ordinance that allows outdoor seating with a permit, which is common in other cities, you saw a lot of cities adopt these ordinances during the COVID era. So those 2 concerns came up after planning and zoning, and they did not consider those 2 questions, so I recommend that the council be mindful of those 2 things.
That's the dumpster and outdoor seating.
Yeah, and they could both be addressed in the special use permit themselves. They can be addressed by, having them amend the site plan on a conditional or
At a later date.
Yeah.
And you said it's a possibility that, oh, I'm sorry. They didn't have room for the dumpster, but if they did put one there, we'd probably lose the parking spot.
Yeah, the issue with the dumpster permit, or the dumpster enclosure, we haven't received a submission for a building permit from the landlord yet. The way the lots are aligned, they're going to have a difficult spot finding a place that won't require either a lot consolidation or a zoning variance. However, it's not really for me to tell them where to put it, it just has to meet the code.
I do have a question, and this may be a typo. We've got 2 separate ordinances, one for Honey's Wine Bar and one for Honey's Cafe. But Bill 2406 is Honey's Cafe and Wine Bar, and the restrictions on the wine bar are not dictated in this ordinance.
I will address that, and I will address the ordinances as well. So, Honey's on Bill 2406, which is the special use permit for the restaurant. Honey's Cafe and Wine Bar is the legal entity name of the cafe. So,
Okay, so there's no
that's
issues.
why there. It's just.
And this is the cafe that this.
Yeah, and that would be operated by Mr. Hickman, and then the bar would be operated by Ms. Harris West. So,
Okay, I just want to
yeah,
clarify.
and then the ordinances as well. I wanted to mention this because in section 3 of the ordinance, you'll see all the proposed conditions that would be implied as part of the special use permit. If any of these conditions were broken, the special use permit could be revoked. So there was no recommended ones from P&Z regarding the restaurant, but you'll see that there is quite a few here. These are the standard run-of-the-mill conditions that Normandy has historically, and historically I mean going back to like the 2000s and before, put onto special use permits. For example, they're pretty basic stuff, like if you have exterior lighting, it can't go into your neighbor's window and keep them up all night or anything like that. Special use permit's not transferable. They have to occupy the place within 6 months for the special use permit to be good. They have to have proper ventilation for their food. So pretty standard stuff. On 2407, you'll see all the same things that you see in the 2406, except for the first one adds the hours of operation that the planning and zoning recommended. So at this point, I'd be happy to answer any questions. If I don't know if you want to invite the applicants to speak.
Sam,
I'm gonna invite the applicants to answer questions as they come
I
up.
have a quick question before you sit down. Do you know exactly what the setback from the street to the building is? Because I'm looking at, just trying to get an idea. How many
What the
feet?
setback currently is, or
Yeah.
what it is in our code?
What is current, what the setback is currently?
The actual
From the
building?
street to the building.
To the building.
Yeah, because that
Yeah.
big,
I would have to get a ruler out, I don't have it off the top of my head, but every inch is 20 feet, so, it's not very large. In fact,
so the code says 20 feet?
the code says 30 feet off
30
of,
feet,
off of
that's
a
what I
highway. But then, again, I mentioned this building was built in 1930 before the zoning code, so it's a little different.
Well, and additionally, we took parking from in front of that building by eminent domain for Great Streets. So they lost their legal frontage.
Well, I think it was always part of the right of way. I don't know.
Oh, really?
I don't know if it was eminent domain, but I wasn't here at the time either, so I can't speak.
There was parking there, but you're telling me it was part of the right of way?
Yeah, because you can see now, you can see on the site plan that their property line's in, and then there's that big green space that we put in. So that's where, I believe that's where the parking is.
Yeah, that's where the parking is.
So that would have been public parking.
So, I will advise that there are no operating limitations or restrictions on operating hours on the cafe. But I would recommend that, and this would be easier if I probably should have recommended doing this in the opposite order. Whatever hours of operation restrictions you're considering for the wine bar, I would highly recommend those same restrictions be put on the cafe, because they're operating two businesses in the same space. So if you have the cafe opening and a bar that closes at 10, but the patrons stay there till midnight, there's gonna be alcohol there. So I'm just suggesting that whatever we consider as far as restrictions on operations for the bar, we make those same restrictions on the cafe because they're operating in the same space. So are there any additional questions for Sam or the applicants?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Vicki.
Yeah, in that the food program would open earlier, would they need to amend the hours of operation?
I think there was-
So,
Go ahead.
as far as, so I know that they have their business plan, which they submitted. And let's just set aside the third entity thing
Got it.
that came up earlier in the meeting. Our code says that businesses cannot open earlier than 6 AM without, it's called a conditional use permit, not to be confused with the special use permit. But 6 AM is the general opening hours in the city of Normandy.
Okay.
Right now, the conditions proposed by planning and zoning don't govern opening hours, they just govern closing hours. So even if they're in their business plan, let's say that we're gonna open at 2, and then a year later, and we're not gonna serve breakfast, and I don't think that's what they said in there, but let's just, for the sake of argument, they say, we're not gonna serve breakfast, we're gonna open at lunchtime. And then a year later, they say, oh, we wanna open at breakfast and serve mimosas, so the restaurant and bar is going to open at 7 AM, then nothing in our code or this special use permit would prohibit them from changing. As far as opening hours.
Fair is fair.
I'd like to ask a question.
Please.
Can Mr. Ken Moore, I want to ask you earlier.
Yes, sir.
And also Mr. Holly?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now, like you said earlier, you would open up at 6 till
6 to 10 because the orders have to be out. Most people will not be coming in for the daycares and
Right.
stuff. They will be shipped out.
That's to get the food prepared and everything.
Right.
Now, another thing is, now, like you spoke earlier, this is kind of like an oldies but goodies type of a bar where you're gonna play no rap, none of that kind of, no wild stuff, and no heavy metal, stuff like that. And probably 8 o'clock, you would probably quit serving. At what time will you quit serving dinner or meals in the evening?
10.
10, so up until 10?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that's pretty much all I want to know.
Anybody else?
I just want to say, is it just something, go ahead.
No.
Go ahead.
Yolanda,
Go ahead.
please.
So when it comes to the trash and the refuge, I know you have to have an additional dumpster, so there'll be 2 dumpsters, is that correct?
but that's the ownership of the building. That's her concern. I can't say what she's getting. That's
Please,
all
Sam.
it's-
As a matter of city code, they do not have to have two
So
dumpsters.
it'll be one big dumpster.
Yeah, now, I don't know what the St. Louis County Health Department requires in terms of like the grease trap or
Right.
whatever, but we don't govern that. If they do have that, it would have to fit inside the enclosure.
Yeah.
I did hear something about the two dumpsters. If that's out there, that's because of the owners and the landlords, not because of the city.
Okay, and then the location of the dumpster, have you guys decided where you're gonna put it? Of the enclosure?
That's the ownership of the building.
Oh.
That has
Oh, the
no-
owner is gonna determine that.
Yeah, because the dumpster will serve the entire building, not just,
Okay, and then, the trash cans that are for people that leave the establishment.
Okay.
Do you guys plan on putting trash cans there?
I would like to,
How many?
probably two.
Two?
So you got one coming and one exiting, so, you know, if somebody's got something, they can drop it. And then we will have somebody coming every morning to clean the lots, the neighbors, our lot, and anything trash that's out there.
So then what about, so are you familiar with the noise violation, ordinances that we have?
Believe me, you won't be able to hear it from coming to the front door. It won't be a loud noise, cause it'll be a jukebox pretty much.
But are you familiar with it?
I've read through it.
You read it?
Yeah,
No,
I read
I
through it.
haven't read it.
So, how do you plan on, like, making sure that the noise violations are not, don't exceed, you know, the requirement?
I'm going on 60. I don't like a lot of noise too much. I like quiet. I like to be able to have a conversation and not just hearing music, you know.
Okay.
Are you asking about anything specific in the?
I'm asking, are you guys aware of it, one?
Yes.
And also number two, is there a plan to make sure that stays in check?
It will be in check, you know, because it's not a rah-rah bar. It's come in and socialize. And most people, we want working class. We don't want people that don't have no place to go. Everybody got to go to work, so they need to be home by 10 anyway.
And then with the parking, I know you had mentioned that Afro World, you're gonna have a parking agreement with them, is that correct?
We did, but she said she had a couple people from the city come and tell her if she opens up the parking to us, they will cite citations for a new lot, and that's what she was speaking of as far as lighting.
So there will not be a parking agreement with them?
It will be, that's why she said she consulted her attorney about it.
But it will not be instituted at the time you want to have the place open in June.
We plan on it. She's had, like she expressed earlier, she said, after a review with her attorney that she does think that she will allow us to park there.
But
as
it's not
of-
an agreement, there's nothing in writing right now, right?
No,
Okay,
just-
then what about the loan place? Will you also be using their parking? Was that the conversation you were?
Well, actually, she owns both properties, the one hers and the one next to her, which is.
Behind the loan,
It's before the long place.
Okay,
I think
so-
it's in between.
so
the
both
long-
of those are hers?
Yes.
Okay. And then as far as the free and reduced lunch program goes, how, do you guys have a list already of like the number of, parents that like would come in? Would it only be Normandy residents or would it be people from the surrounding area?
Normandy residents, it'd be Normandy residents, and then we have daycares that are outside of Normandy,
But the people that actually have to come in
will be the Normandy
will be the,
residents.
and they have to come in, I understand, and they have to sign
Yes.
for their children to eat, and they have to stay there with their children, or they
No, they just sign and they take the lunch.
They take the lunch and leave?
Mhm.
Okay. And then, what about the occupancy limits for the fire department? For the capacity of the building?
But they haven't gave us that yet because we don't have the, fire safety came in until they come in. They haven't gave us a capacity yet.
Okay. And then the number of tabletops that you're gonna have?
Right now, we got tabletops that seat about 100.
100. Does that include the bar area?
The bar area, no.
So how, like altogether, seating, how much would you,
Probably because the bar probably only holds 10 chairs,
110?
so figure about 110. Then we probably have 2 extra, one for security to sit in at the door, And then there will be outside security as well, to make sure that the patrons' cars are not broken into.
And then also, how many, employees?
Employees, I'll be doing in the evening, most of the cooking during the morning shifts will be, I'm figuring we'll have one cook, and we'll have probably 2 waitresses.
And then what about for you?
Well, they don't open till 5, that part of it.
Well, I mean, what I'm saying is, these are the owners, correct? So, do you, how many employees will you guys have?
I think probably about 2 or 3.
2 or 3 for the bar?
Yeah.
And then for the cafe?
About the same.
Okay, so that's 6 altogether?
Yes.
But that's not included. Is that including cooks too?
Yeah.
And then you have, there are 22 parking spaces on the lot, yes?
Okay.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay, and then you have free reign of the lot, yes?
Yes.
And you have 17 technically that you need for your establishment, yes?
Yes, ma'am.
And then there are 6 employees, 110 people allowed at a time. This is prior to an event, which you plan on having in the establishment? Like
Okay.
music events, things of that nature, like you had the birthday party on Saturday, so things like that?
Well, that was for my brother's
But you
grandson.
plan on having
Gonna
events?
vote on this?
Yes, okay, so,
All of these employees on the bus, so they won't be parking in the parking lot, they don't have a car.
well, people's situation changes, so, I would hope that, working a job 9 to 5, that at some point, they would be, able to,
They haven't had
afford
a
a
car
car.
in 10 years.
We don't
I can
know,
see
you
them
get an
getting a car next
inheritance,
month.
but you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so things change,
Yeah.
The other thing is, so when it comes to,
No, you're fine.
I feel like,
No, go ahead.
so when it comes to the actual parking that you have and the agreement isn't in writing yet, but you will have 110 people that you can occupy and then the 6 people. So how do you plan on when you have an event, making sure that you have enough parking? Because the agreement isn't, like, what do you plan on doing? Like, is there an alternative, like, space or?
Well, we
Like,
talked to
park
O'Reilly's too, because now at this point, I forgot what that is, transitional place that's on the lot with O'Reilly's. They take up about 30 parking spaces a day. I didn't know what that place was, cause I live in Pasadena Hills and I run coming up Natchez Bridge, go around, come up. And I was wondering what that place was, cause no literature came out on what was going in there or what. So
So do you plan on having an agreement with O'Reilly's also?
we talked to O'Reilly. They were a little spooked too, because somebody came and talked to them too before we got there.
And then, so the lighting that you guys are gonna put on the parking lot, will that be only on your parking lot, or will it be on the parking lot at Afro World?
That I don't know. I know we're getting new lighting put up because UE is coming to take both of those poles out, which will make 4 more parking spaces on the lot.
Okay.
So right now it's 22, it will be 26, and it depends on how big the dumpster is and how many spaces this dumpster takes.
Okay. How many other businesses will be using the area, Sam,
In
that building?
in that building, so they have 2 small storefronts right next to it, and then I don't really think they have a current plan for the Old Normandy Auto Body portion, which does have storefronts in the front, and then it has car storage in the rear for quite a bit of car storage.
So will the 2 businesses that will occupy also have free reign of the parking lot?
I
Is it
assume-
first come, first served?
So, I don't know what the landlord, so I'll answer from the city's perspective. First come, first served from the city's perspective. The first person who's issuing occupancy permits gets X amount of spaces. Let's say the next person takes up the other 5, third person comes along, sorry, we can't grant you occupancy because there are no parking spaces.
Okay.
From the landlord's perspective and how they structured their lease, I'm not sure on how they designate, but that answers your question.
And then when it comes to security, how will you guys, you spoke about security at night. Will you guys employ a security guard for this time to this time? Will it only be on the weekends? How do you?
Yes. We plan on having security all times, right?
Yeah, till 10 o'clock, till whenever closing time is.
One security person.
Two, it'd be one at the door and one on the lot.
I have a
Go
question.
ahead, go ahead, please.
I have a question. In the parking situation, which is already kind of tight, will there be, does the city require that there be any designated handicap spots?
There is one, so that 22 includes a handicap spot.
Just one.
Yeah, just one. And I believe that is, that's governed by the International Building Code, I believe. And also, I want to ask for clarification. You're saying you have 110 chairs?
Yeah.
What's this for?
We probably have to count them, Sam, to be
I'd
honest.
have to count.
We'd have to count.
Yeah,
Estimate.
it seems like a lot for a small space.
It's more like 60. It's more like 60 or 70.
We'd have to count them.
Chairs.
Well, and to Councilwoman Campbell's question, the fire department will determine the maximum occupancy.
Yeah, okay. So,
There's more questions.
who has a question? Go ahead.
That you had said that that the restaurant should close along with the bar?
Well, that's what I was gonna get to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I have that question, and then, with the parking, so there's no documentation yet. So the work that needs to be done for you to use Afro Rose parking, are you going to be doing that work? Are you paying for that, so you could use that parking?
Well, it depends on the agreement that we get with her. So we don't have that in stone yet, so we can't answer that absolutely 100%
Okay, she was
accurately.
mentioning that her lawyer said if there's no lighting, that the parking needs to be, something needs to be
And
approved.
what her
The-
lawyer
that
just
was her
advised her,
lawyer.
it was the city that told her that it needed to be proper lighting.
Well, those may be ordinances then that need to be followed.
I don't know.
Would you like to clarify, Chief?
Yes. When Ms. Forrest told me that she was going to be sharing her parking spot, she asked me if that was a concern, or should she be concerned. I told her that she should talk to her legal counsel to explore liability that she would incur if she were to open her lot, which is exactly what she said. So there was no specific conversation with regards to her needing to make any improvisions or any repairs to her property. But I did tell her, you should talk to your attorney before you make that decision to determine if you bear any liability if something happens on your property.
But she did say here that whatever needed to happen for you to use the property you would be paying for.
She said that her attorney recommended an agreement that would be possible.
So just to clarify, the city did not tell anything from an official capacity regarding lighting?
Or
It was just
anything else.
recommendation to speak to legal counsel?
I have a small question. It's very, very, very specific, and I apologize. But in the business description for the wine bar, it says Honey's Wine Bar offers multiple drinks, accompanied by a curated menu of small plates and charcuterie boards. Are those being provided via the cafe, or are those pre-assembled for the wine bar separately? I don't want to get.
If you order food at the bar, then one of the food workers will bring the food to the bar.
Cafe workers.
From the cafe, okay, that's all.
One
Just a
more
slight
question about,
clarification.
you said it would be a jukebox, but we were overhearing it would be live music.
Now, that it's possible that there might, like Sundays, I think I told Miss Campbell, I got to deal with like Belle the violinist. She's been there playing the violin. I don't think that would be very loud.
Well, let me make some recommendations here. There's valid concerns, and I'm hearing that you're willing to address those valid concerns.
Of course.
If we want to put specific restrictions, I think we should make a motion to do so. For example, if outdoor seating, we're not convinced it's even allowed. So if someone would make a motion that outdoor seating would let me try it again. Outdoor seating would specifically not be allowed as a condition of approval, because that adds basically floor space and parking requirements.
Okay.
Then then make that motion.
I'll make that motion right now.
There's a
I'll make
motion
that
on the
motion
floor
now.
that outdoor seating not be allowed
Exactly.
for Honey's Cafe and Wine Bar. Is there a second? Second. Any discussion? Any comment?
It's something that can always be reviewed
I
at a
don't-
later date, but right now.
Yeah, I mean, we hand trying this business, they trying to open up a business. I mean, I'm looking at, yeah, we can say, okay, no outdoor seating, but every community, I mean, Ferguson, you can go all around and they got little table, 2 or 3 tables outside the little park, the place.
And
you know, for
I
like
don't
smokers
object to
or
it.
what's the case may be.
I'm just trying to clean this, I'm trying to clean this up. And we don't have an ordinance for outdoor. Andy, please.
If I may. So as Sam mentioned, the code is silent as to outdoor and patio seating, right? And given kind of the permissive nature of the zoning code and the way it is drafted, I generally interpret silence to be an implicit prohibition, right? So I'm inclined to think that outdoor seating is prohibited in the code, so I don't think it's really necessary to put a condition restricting it, removing it from the site plan for final approval of the SUP is something that probably ought to be done, and the city can work with the applicants to do that. And then I would encourage the city to, you know, if outdoor seating is something that the city wants to explicitly allow, then perhaps a text amendment to the zoning code is in order for consideration by P&Z.
Thank you.
Okay.
So the opinion is we don't need to do this, it's not allowed anyway,
Right.
remove it from the
So we
site.
can just scratch that.
There was another issue addressed, noise.
Noise.
If we want to put a condition on approval with a noise restriction consistent with the statute that's now on the books, which, is that 100 feet?
It's 100 feet.
Yeah, I believe it's, the definition of obnoxious, like, or too loud is that you can hear it distinctly from 100 feet away.
Okay, so, another question for you, Annie. You know, noise and objectionable noise, well, that might be part of a business plan. It costs me so much a month in noise fines. That doesn't solve the problem. So if we want to put a condition that, to restrict noise that can be heard within 100 feet of the permitted business. Is that consistent with our code and no issues with that?
Yeah, I think that would be fine. That condition would mirror the section 215-770 of the code. So it's duplicative in a way.
It is duplicative, but what I'm saying is if it's a condition of a special use permit and it occurs routinely, the special use permit can be yanked.
Sure.
Versus writing a citation that gets paid a $50 fine every month and it.
Yes, I mean, I think that the SUP could be, the council could move to revoke the SUP for repeated violation of the existing noise ordinance, right? But there's no problem with adding a condition, and I think it would just make it very clear, so I don't have a legal objection to it, I just think it is a little duplicative.
Right, and again, just to try to clean it up and address, I'm hearing there's a concern about the noise, other residents have made that concern, and you're telling me you're willing to address that?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
I just had a quick question. Before Courtyard Bar and Grill, was there a noise problem with the previous bars, like Cougar and?
Absolutely.
The ones before that?
Yeah.
So was it a condition placed in there?
Well,
as well?
I will tell you that there weren't proper processes followed for them to move into that building.
No?
And I'll just, that was before we were here. So, hearing no objection to addressing the noise problem and hearing the concern, is there a motion to?
So what about, wait.
Go ahead.
So, when it comes to smoking in the county code, this is something that I asked, Sam about. So, is smoking something that for the bar area that you will be having? What about hookah?
I got an answer on that. So our code, which goes way back to, I think this was established in the 40s, R45, with our, long time ago. If they generate at least 60% of their sales by food, then they can't have smoking. Now, St. Louis County ordinances through the health department says that unless your primary a majority of your sales are from tobacco, then you can't have smoking in the place, unless you have like an outdoor area, which we just talked about. So as far as, that's why you can have places that are like cigar bars or hookah lounges, because the majority of their sales is actually from the tobacco or from renting the machine, and not from food. So it would be prohibited by St. Louis County ordinance if their main business is to operate a restaurant.
Mark, I have another connection.
Yes.
With, when I was referring to live music, previously we were told that there's a dance floor. So there would be more than just a violin player. For the dance floor to be activated. So I'm just clarifying that dance floor would be indicative to me of louder music, a band coming in.
Well, and again, if they're having live music or if they're having a jukebox, the concern is how far does that project and when does it become an annoyance?
Exactly.
And that's why I'm saying let's address that.
So as far as having live music, if we put a restriction on no live music Monday through Thursday at all, no live music after 9 o'clock on 10 o'clock on Fridays, Saturday, and 9 after 9 on Sunday.
We could do that, but I don't think you're gonna have support for that. I
No.
think if the
No.
live music is not an issue unless it creates an obnoxious noise.
Well, this is my thing. It's not an issue until it's an issue.
Right.
So
That's why.
if we have it in place and we're saying these are the hours that these things are allowed, if we're doing it now, instead of coming back to the table to say, oh, you know what? We gave you until 11, but now we figure it's too loud and everything, or the traffic is too much.
And I think that's what I'm trying to address. If we make as a condition of approval, no obnoxious noise and as described as noise that can be heard 100 feet from the place of business, if you can hear it 100 feet away, it's prohibited. Will that satisfy the residents of the people behind the bar? I think that would be reasonable. And it's not loud noise then.
I guess what Ilana is
I
saying.
what I'm saying is, when you have an event in a place during weekend hours, it is completely different from having an event during weekday hours. And what I'm saying is that if we say that these are the times that we are going to allow you to do those things, that everyone is completely transparent as to what the times are and everything. And they're more conducive to weekend hours and things like that. That's what I'm saying. Now, I have heard from my constituents that are in Ward 4. I know what they would like. We are very close to the bar. I am also a person that's on the list. And so what I'm saying is, I would like that issue to be taken into consideration.
Okay? So what I would ask for you to do is make a motion to that effect, to add that as a condition of approval. And if you make a motion and there's a second, we'll vote on whatever condition you want to put in.
All right, let's move it along.
Yeah, well, so what
Let's keep
condition?
going.
What condition do you want to say?
Wait,
Wait, I'm not gonna be yelled at.
Let's-
I'm not gonna be yelled at.
I'm not
So
yelling.
I'm not gonna be yelled at.
Let's keep order. If you have a specific condition in mind, state the condition in the form of a motion.
So my motion would be
Okay.
that there are no live events Monday through Thursday,
Live events or live music?
live music.
Okay.
Monday through Thursday, and then on Friday, they would end at 10 o'clock. On Saturday, they would end at 10 o'clock. And on Sunday, they would, I'm not done, and on
Okay.
Sunday, they would end at 9 o'clock.
So I have a question.
Well,
I mentioned something
let's, I'm gonna state the motion and then if there's a second, we'll have a discussion on that motion.
All right.
Okay? So there's a motion on the floor as a condition of approval to prohibit live music Sunday through Thursday.
No, Monday through Thursday.
Monday through Thursday?
Yes.
Okay. No live music Monday through Thursday. Live music's to end at 10 o'clock on Friday, 10 o'clock on Saturday, 9 o'clock on Sunday. Is that accurate?
Yes.
So there's a motion on the floor to restrict music. Is there a second? Lacking a second, the motion will die on the floor.
Wait a minute, wait. Yeah, I second that.
Okay, there's a second. Is there any comment?
Yeah, I have a comment. Okay. You're mentioning live music, okay? There's a, like he said, violinists come on Sundays or Fridays or something, so we're gonna prohibit them also, right? Because that's live music. It's live music.
Are you asking me? Or are
Yeah,
you making a comment?
yeah, I'm
Well,
making a
this is what I'm
comment.
saying. What I'm saying is, it is very likely in this world that the plan that people put down on paper for their business change. That is completely likely.
That's true.
What a business starts off as at the beginning can turn into something else, because as we all know, we gonna follow the money. So, because that's the nature of the game when it comes to business. So if I find out that I'm a business person and, oh, there's this real nice jazz quartet, and I want them to come in because they're gonna bring in more money, they're also gonna bring in more traffic, and they're gonna bring in more people, then I'm probably gonna book them because I sell more food, I sell more liquor, I sell more things. Now, what I am saying is, you can start off with one violinist. However, if you want to make money, you're gonna follow the money. And what I'm saying is, what we need to be conscious of is that this is a business that is in a residential area, and unfortunately, that's just the nature of the game. I did not put the business there, they didn't put my house there, but it's just the nature of the game. So what I'm saying is, we need to put parameters in place so that everyone is on the same page and understands these are the things that can happen on Monday through Friday, and these are the things that can happen Friday through Sunday.
But we got no
Is there-
issue with Monday through Thursday.
Is there anyone else that wants to make a comment?
No, no, 'cause I'm not.
So there's a motion on the
Let's vote
floor.
on it.
We have a second.
I don't need all that.
Is there any question about what you're voting on?
So it's all of the restrictions on.
The restrictions of no music allowed Monday through Thursday.
But you
No
can-
live music.
No live music allowed Monday through Thursday. Music ends at 10 o'clock on Friday, 10 o'clock on Saturday, 9 o'clock on Sunday.
Right.
That's the motion that's on the floor. It's been seconded. All in favor?
And that's live music.
Live music. All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
No. Roll call vote, please.
Councilwoman,
You broke up.
Councilwoman Copeland,
No.
Councilman Sachsenheimer,
No.
Councilman Jackson,
No.
Councilman Evans,
No.
Councilman Nelson,
Yes.
Councilman Hong,
No.
Councilwoman Rasso,
Yes.
Councilwoman Campbell.
Yes.
The nays have it, motion fails. I think there's another opportunity to control the noise, and that's with a motion to make as a condition of approval that obnoxious noise, which would be described as anything heard 100 feet or more, is prohibited. And if they violate that restriction, then their special use permit can be pulled. Is that accurate?
Well, it's not that a violation will result in an automatic suspension or revocation of the special use permit. It would be grounds for a revocation or suspension of the special use permit, which of course the holders of the permit would be entitled to a hearing on that issue. But yes, it could be, as a condition, it could be a grounds for a suspension.
Fair is fair.
Is there a motion to make as a condition of approval that noise that can be heard 100 feet or more from the premises be not allowed?
I'll make a motion.
There's a motion to that effect. Is there a second?
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Are there any opposed?
Aye.
Ayes have it, motion carries. Okay, there's the issue, and there's the issue of the dumpster,
Mark.
okay? Please. I mean, it was brought up and it's
But it's,
legit.
but it's the owner's responsibility of
Right.
dealing, right?
I'm right,
But
that's
for
right.
ordinance-
I'm just trying to
Okay.
clean up the conversation. The dumpster is an issue. And I think my recommendation would be as a condition of approval, that a dumpster be placed in compliance with Normandy City Code within 6 months of issuance of the special use permit.
Right.
And the reason for that is there's a lot of ways to become compliant. They can combine those lots. There's several options for that, and we don't know which ones they may or may not choose.
Right.
I would like to know if, I would like the location of the dumpster included in the site plan.
No, we don't.
Point of clarification.
Go ahead.
So I have a lot of friends who are restaurant owners. I'm okay with the dumpster itself having the enclosure. I would think it'd be too restrictive though to have the grease dumpster to also be enclosed. I think that would be a separate issue entirely.
We have nothing to do with
But that-
That kind of leads to health. So what
I
we're.
agree,
yeah.
but that is a wholly separate vessel